Good morning all, it's Sunday the 23rd of January, back again to do another weekly update on the markets. What a week it's been last week, terrible one for me really. Can't win them all. Last couple of months we've had a lot of good trades, so you've got to take the rough with the smooth, of course, that's what trading's all about, you can't win them all. I think I hit 3 stop losses this week. I'm not afraid to say, because that's why we use risk management. So we'll start with the EURGBP, as obviously we go in order in the list. I've actually extended my stop loss on this trade. I mean, the stop is only 40 pips anyway. So I'll show you why. As I went out to the monthly chart, and I've marked up this hard low here where price has reversed multiple times over the past few years. So this hard black line here is where I'm saying, right, I'm cutting it if we start moving beyond the south of this line. Thankfully on Friday we've seen a big reaction. As we can see, we've got a huge engulfing bullish candle. But this yellow line here is where price was support and now it's flipped to resistance, so we need to see a break of it really. As you can see on these arrows that I've got drawn out, we need to see this happen, we need to see it come to fruition. We need to see a break above, a retest, and break above the moving average to continuation. So the idea is still the same, we're still aiming for this for the top of this channel at least, but yeah, so keep holding for now. My hard stop zone means it's only 40 pips. I think my risk doubled to 2%, so it's just not a big problem at all, especially with the amount of percentages we've had on the last few trades. It's something I was willing to do after analysing and looking at this monthly pivot point here on this black line. So I extended it to there, and thankfully we got a nice reaction on Friday, so we'll see how next week plays out for that pair, for the continuation. So for that we'll move on to the pound Japanese yen. This was one of my stop losses that hit last week. That one there hit stop loss. I think I did an analysis post in my social media groups, so we can get rid of that one now. And I said this was the area that I was looking for a reaction. It's the next demand zone down, and we're meeting with the moving average for another confluence. So depending on what happens, market open this week, I'll be waiting to see if we get in at this level. And there's a little bit of price imbalance here that we could get in. Might go to fill that gap there possibly. And we could even revisit the big demand zone down here below that we've had many trades off previously, which I also said in my social media analysis post. So I'm going to sit my hands and wait for GJ to show us its hands first. If this breaks the moving average and starts to crumble a bit more, we could even get a little intraday sell on down to demand, but it depends. It does look like it's forming a big M, so we might even complete this leg right down to the demand zone again. But as previously, from that demand zone we've had multiple trades. I think this was one. We had 800 pips there, and I think it was the same again last time on this zone here. We had again 700 pips, so a lot of profit recently. So I hit stop loss on that trade. So we're going to wait now to let GJ show us his hand. So if it looks to form support around here, we could possibly get a buy in. If not, the best trade idea is to wait for demand zone below, and obviously we know it's very strong from previous trades that we've taken, so we can look to get in at that level. So I would just wait on GJ because as with the Japanese yen pairs, once it hits in trend, it just flows, keeps going. As you can see, the rapid movement. So if it really is bearish medium term, we're going down to demand for sure. So keep your eye on that one until the next update. Euro AUD. Again, I was looking for price to come up to the top of this wedge formation. We haven't seen it happen yet, but we can see that it's respecting the trend line. It looks like the proper wedge is forming. So as I say, the euro had a nice reaction on Friday across all pairs, so we might see some short to medium term strength on that. So this setup could come in. I'll get rid of this little squiggly line here. So we could get in the sell once it confirms this downtrend here, down to demand, and we might even get that buy that I've had listed for a long time. It all depends, we'll see how it goes, but that's what to look for in EURUSD. Mark it out on your daily chart, this big wedge, and look for price to come up towards here. And we could get a nice reaction, a nice reaction with the confirmation of the downtrend line. So that's Euro AUD for me. Euro USD, first post I sent out, I hit stop loss. The classic break and retest didn't come, it just tanked right through, as you can see here. I had the stop loss just under what that looks to be like a level, what would have turned to support, and it just kept on tanking. So yeah, I hit stop loss on that trade, but it's not a problem at all. Price is respecting this bottom trend line going up here, so it does look still like we could be going bullish. Technically it's a higher high and a higher low, but we need to start breaking up towards these highs here of 1.6705 to start going in a really long-term bullish move. Again, I would look. You just stick to what you trade and wait for it to come. You can't win all the time. You've got to take the losses along with them, but you will get the wins, and they will outweigh the losses. So again, I'm looking for the same as last time. I'm looking for a break above. Yeah, I'm looking for that break above. If we do make a higher high, and then hopefully the higher low this time will be respectful of the structure that we're looking to continue, and it will be outside of the long-term downtrend that we've been in. So that's what I'm looking for, some formal market structure outside of the downtrend. Then I'll take the next buy on the next higher low that we see in there that forms. So that's Euro USD for me. Gold. I haven't taken a gold trade for a long time, to be honest. I was been too busy looking at other pairs. I was looking for it to come right down to the to test the broken long trend downtrend line that you saw there, and confluence with the moving average. Price did come down, got a reaction off the moving average. So I mean, that circle's been drawn for a long time, and it's and you can see that's where price is closed, and it's open right on the mark. So you could have traded that as a signal. It looks like there's a fresh demand zone created there. So you could have looked to have traded that. Again, even if we get a little pullback to price and we hit this demand zone, you could look to trade that. That's not a little bad trade, especially with the moving average pointing upwards now. We could get a couple of confluences going on that trade, especially with this little secondary trend line inside this channel. So yeah, a little gold setup there that I found on the fly. I've not really analysed it too much, to be honest. So yeah, look for this pullback in gold, moving average pointing upwards. Once you get in this demand zone, look for support to form and get in on the buy on that one. And then we'll move on to Bitcoin, the bloodbath. Crazy. What was it? November 2021, 10th November, we were 68,964, so let's say 69,000. Currently today, well, yesterday it was 34, so that's over 50% drop since November. Crazy movements, but it's providing cheap Bitcoin for everybody. A lot of people say we're coming down to 20k for a reset. I can't see that personally, but a lot of people say this demand zone here at 32 and 28, is it? Yeah, 27 and a half. That for me is the bottom. We go on the weekly. I mean, it's not uncommon that it could drop down and complete this M pattern. This is certainly a hard level of support here that if it breaks, it's going to fall. But I've got confidence in these big demand zones. So, as I say, we've had trades off it in the past. I think we took this one here all the way to the top if you kept holding it for that long. But we had multiple buys on the way up from these demand zones. So Bitcoin is bearish, but we're looking for buys. Cheap Bitcoin is always nice to buy. Obviously, everybody always looks for that next all-time high that's going to come, apparently. But if you're a holder, you may as well trade it with leverage as well as buying and stick it in your wallet. So as we can see from this demand zone that was created on the way up to make the first all-time high. Well, that wasn't the first one, but yeah, the first noticeable one. And then it provided support next for the next all-time high that formed last year. So again, once we hit this demand zone at the bottom here, look for support to form around this hard line at 30k, 29.5, around this area. As long as you don't break that and we hold above, we're going to be getting the buys in, and we're going to hold that sucker for some nice pips. So that's the goal. That's the Bitcoin overview for me on that one. So that's 3 stop losses for me this week. Not a huge problem. For plenty of profit over the past weeks. As long as we keep trading our strategy and our rules and stick to what we know, we should be profitable long term. So that's it for this week. I will do another update next week, next Sunday, end of the month, end of January. Yeah, hope you have a good trading week, everybody. I'll see you again next week.